Hello and warm greetings to you. Thank you for listening in. I can guarantee you these few minutes would be one of the most profitable minutes you've spent listening into a podcast. My name is Hemant Taneja from Tatra Consulting, and I am delighted to have you listening in. Now, you may be working with a corporate organization, the social sector, you may be an educationist, you may be working for the government, or an entrepreneur for that matter. No matter which field you're in, this podcast is relevant for you. To the extent, even if you're a rocket scientist, this will hold true for you. And I don't say that. Our former president, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam Azad, alluded to that in a beautiful story which some of you may have heard. Many years ago, Dr. Kalam was working on the SLV-3 project and the rocket fell into the sea. The team was distraught. Dr. Satish Dhawan, who was his leader, told people that he would attend the press conference and no one from his team needed to worry. And he took all the blame upon himself. A few months later, the rocket launch was successful. And when Dr. Kalam told Dr. Dhawan, well, sir, it's time for the press conference, he simply said, you should go and attend it. It's your success. I had goosebumps as I heard of it for the first time. In one episode, you can see elements of deep care, motivation, ownership, respect, and so many other aspects of leadership that can engage and unleash the true potential of teams and individuals. Now, for somebody like Dr. Dhawan, it may have come naturally, or he may have acquired it over the years, but there is a way for us to acquire these competencies, and that's what we will talk about today. Our guest is a well-known best-selling author. She's a speaker. She's a talent management expert. She is a Wall Street Journal bestseller. She's a guide on the side, and she's a sage on the stage. And she's a well-known face in the talent management circles around the globe. Please join me in welcoming Kaye.
All you need is love. All you need is love. All you need is love. Love is all you need.
Wow, Bev, thank you so much for being with us. It's good to have you.
You are welcome. And that was a great song you picked because
Well,
love
thank you.
may be all we all need in every way, shape, and form.
Right. Fantastic, Bev. I'm such a big fan, and I'm sure there are so many of us here in India who are big fans of yours and have followed your work over a period of time. It is just incredible just to see you and have you with us. I'm going to stop sharing my screen for a moment, and then we should be ready. So, are you able to hear me clearly?
Mhm.
Fantastic. So Bev, I'd like to set some context by sharing a little bit about India and why I think your work is so relevant for us over here. We are the fifth largest economy in the world, with the GDP just shy of $3 trillion. We have a great demographic dividend. In fact, 62% of our workforce is between 15 to 59 years of age. And incredibly, more than 50% of our population is below 25 years of age. So this is a great moment in time for us in India. We have success stories in almost every sector. We have successful space program, and I was just sharing that a moment ago. We have a top-notch IT industry, and we're exporting a lot of talent in the area. We're growing at a good rate, and there is so much more action that's happening here in India at this point of time. And I do believe to sustain the momentum in any economy, there needs to be solid leadership and a well-developed talent that steers the organization across sectors. And that's where I believe your work comes in so beautifully. So again, thank you, Bev, for being here. I've always wanted to ask you, what prompted you to write Love 'Em or Lose 'Em way back in '99?
You know, it was one of the smartest things I think I did. Um, um, and the War for Talent had just come out. McKinsey published The War for Talent. And in that book, they made a statement that everybody nodded their head. And the statement was, people don't leave organizations, they leave managers. And everybody said, right on, that's exactly it. It's the manager. But nobody was saying, what could a manager do to prevent talent loss? And my co-author and I were determined to write a book that you could open to almost any page and get an idea of what you could do that was easy and practical and quick. So we interviewed thousands of people and we asked them not, why did you leave, but why do you stay? And from all that data of why people stay, we developed the theory that underlies the book Love 'Em or Lose 'Em. And bottom line, it's like the song, love is it. And if anyone in the audience is uncomfortable with the word love, substitute anything else for it. It's about respect. It's about noticing. It's about thanking. It's about recognizing. It's all those things. And love was the one word that held it all. And now the word love is not such an anomaly in business. In 1999, it was, and we had a fight for using that word in the cover. So we wanted something really practical that a busy manager, and boy, are managers and leaders busy now,
Right.
that a busy manager could say, I could do that. That's not so hard. I'll try that one. And there are multiple choices in the book for managers
Right.
to try.
Fantastic. That's terrific. I think that's an incredible story of how um, research in one area led you to think about what needs to be done to empower people to really make that a reality so that organizations, institutions can benefit from it. Very interesting. It reminds me of this movie many years ago, and possibly this movie was released before uh, the launch of the book. Jerry Maguire, and I'm sure you know of the
I
movie.
remember that.
So that had this character called Dickie Fox, and Dickie Fox was a fictitious character. But every time there was a message to be given, Dickie Fox would come on camera and he'd say something really wise. And I remember one of the instances where things were not going fine and Jerry was in trouble. Dickie Fox turned around and said, if you don't have anything here, and he points to his heart, uh, this doesn't matter. Yeah.
Right.
And that stuck with me over the years. And that's one powerful reason why I feel Love 'Em or Lose 'Em has been such an incredible success, selling over not close to 800,000 copies now over the years. And I'll talk more about the secret of success, but I'd love to hear from you. In all these hundreds and thousands of books that are released almost every year, and why should a smart manager who has limited time, as you just alluded to, go to an online store or a bookstore and pick Love 'Em or Lose 'Em?
One, because time is precious and every manager needs not a big theory, not a dissertation, but give me an idea that I can implement and give me an idea that fits me. And what we know about managers is that there are different strokes for different folks. So we try to give a plethora of possibilities to managers. And, you know, when Sharon and I wrote the book, we wanted something that was an easy read. And we actually wrote the book twice, and we were bored reading it. It was too much theory and too much. And then one evening, I got the idea of organizing the book according to the alphabet. And I remember saying to my co-author, what if we put the alphabet, we were in a hotel room, around the walls of the hotel room, and tried to figure out what idea from the data would match every letter in our alphabet. And we had trouble with the Z and trouble with the X.
Right.
We figured it out. So the entire book is written by the alphabet, A through Z.
Yes.
And it makes it easy for managers to look at the table of contents and say, which of these is hard for me? Which of these is easy for me? Which ones do I need to get better at? And I'll tell your listeners one idea, and that is, I'm sure on the internet is the table of contents. Download just the table of contents and show it to each employee and say, which of these 26 things would you like me to do more of for you? Pick two. I'm not saying pick more, just pick two. And then you'll have a hint about what that person wants from you. And in the world of diversity and inclusion and equity, we all know that we have to look at each individual separately. So what does your team want from you individually, not collectively? And that's where your job is as a manager.
Brilliant, brilliant. And I do resonate a lot with that because many years ago in my organizational context, when I read the book the first time around, I can't even recall it. It was 2006 somewhere. I think I still have your edition from that time, of course, and I have the new one too. And yeah, I do remember. I was personally working on a few areas for my own self, and I got some feedback from the team. And there were areas I struggled in at a point in time. But just reflecting on some of the stuff that you've written in the book at that point, and just was such an aha moment for me to go out to the team and have this candid conversation. And there's so much more that came out of it. So I remember it very, very fondly because it changed the course in some ways of my own leadership style many, many years ago. So that's incredible. In fact, this is for the listeners. What we'll do is, Bev, like we were discussing earlier, we'll maybe take that article that you and Beverly Cowell, I think, wrote, and we'll post it wherever we're posting the video so that everybody has a sense of what these 26 items are and how they can start applying these in their own lives. So we'll definitely do that. And I'll make a note of it right now. As I hear you, Bev, and I spoke about 2005-06, whenever I went through it, I found this book relevant then. I have personally trained on this topic,
Yeah.
as you know, with you. And I know it is still so relevant with the sixth edition. What is the secret of being able to talk successfully to almost three generations of a workforce, and and be so successful in just getting the message out there? So tell us more about what's the secret sauce spanning these generations.
I wish I could name the magic. I mean, it's really, when I think about the book and the 26 chapters, there's nothing that anybody doesn't already know. The problem is there's a gap between knowing and doing.
Mm-hmm.
And just because we know something, we don't always remember to do it. I remember early on, maybe when the book was first out, I was introduced to about 100 managers by their GM.
Mm-hmm.
And, it was early in this whole thing. And the general manager said to everybody, everything in this book you already know. And I thought, I'm just going to die right now because, no one's going to want to hear what they already know. And then he said, because your mothers taught it to you when they said, go out and play nice in the sandbox. And I realized, it is training we've always gotten. But in the rush of our lives, we forget. And when your desk is piled high with, like mine is, with things you have to do, how do you make time? And how do you take a break? And how do you notice an individual whose countenance looks unhappy on a particular day, who's not smiling like they usually do? And instead of just letting it go over our heads, it's asking the question intently, how are you? I get a sense that things aren't going so well. What's not working for you? That kind of question shows the individual he noticed, she noticed, and maybe they can't even answer what's not going well, but the appreciation that you stopped to say, how are you? And you meant it means everything to an individual, I think.
Beautiful, beautiful. I just love that. I just love that. In fact, these days I'm attending this seminar being conducted by the Indian Society for Applied Behavioral Sciences, and one of my takeaway and reflections, as I was thinking of this morning, has been that leadership is a function of awareness. And so long as I can work on my awareness, my own mindfulness about self and people, and build a business acumen, I think these are great ingredients to become a good leader or a great leader. No matter what context that we are in, maybe in a social sector, maybe in organization, government, whatever. But these are key ingredients we thought. I thought that I was thinking about it. I have the book in my hand, and I was looking at the index, as you said a moment ago, and thinking of what are some of the things that my mom would have told me during my growing up years. And I know. So A for ask, yes. B for buck, C for careers. We didn't have so many conversations, but yes, later part of the life, doing what you love, which you have right behind you, on the door, above the door. Yeah. So that's a message I got from her and my
That's
dad.
right.
family, goals, hire. Yeah, okay. Man, there is so much that I've heard of, and I didn't think of it this way. So no wonder it resonates so much, Bev, with people when they read it, because this is stuff they have learned from their parents,
Right,
people who they grew up with, and so forth. So this is incredible. What a connection that you made for
right,
me and the audience right now.
right. And for managers, it's the question, which of these things do I want from my manager? It's not just how can I hang on to all my talent, but it's how do I tell my own manager what I'm missing, what I want more of. And I think it's the employee's job to ask for what they want as much as it is the manager's job to ask, how can I make this work life better for you? So, both, it's important up and down and sideways too.
That's quite true, Bev. It's both the employee's job and the leader's job to do this in tandem. After all, this may probably be the most important professional relationship they have at the moment. Wonderful. So, to all our viewers, this was the first of the two podcasts in the series with Dr. Beverly Kaye, author of the bestseller Love Him or Lose Him. Next week, we will come back with the second episode with some more exciting and rich insights from Bev. Watch this space. Have a great week ahead.